What is going on, everyone? This is Brandon Turner, host of the Bigger Pockets podcast, author of a bunch of books, and awkward tall wannabe surfer. What's going on, everyone? So today, I'm actually going to bring on a good friend of mine, Jason Dries, who's also my performance coach, to talk about mindset related to money. I believe that's what we're talking about today. So he's going to jump on here in just a moment as soon as as soon as he requests to join on. And we're going to be talking about, again, the idea of mindset related to money and the way that I think about money, the way that I've learned to kind of think differently about money. And so that's what we're talking about today. So if you have money questions, kind of be thinking of that, of stuff maybe you want to know about how I think about money, or maybe different ways you think about money and wealth and growing wealth and all that good stuff. So with that, I'm also recording this microphone. That way maybe I can put this out as like a YouTube video eventually for BP or something. So it should be bringing Jason in right now. Hey, Jason, what's up, man?
I am not much, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm drinking my second cup of coffee today, so I'm going to be pumped up today.
Really? I got water. I got electrolytes. I got coffee.
Everything
We're
you
doing
need.
we're doing a little upgrade in our house. Apparently, it's a 2-part upgrade. I don't really get sick anymore. My body upgrades to a higher level frequency of awesome, and it has side effects. Runny nose and stuff.
I like that way of thinking about that. That's really good. So cool.
Yeah, and when I get around,
yeah,
and I get around other people, they upgrade too. See?
There you go. You can upgrade everybody. Just get into that's a great way of looking at that. So that's why I like you, Jason. Different way of looking at stuff. All right, so we're talking today about money. Specifically the way that we think about money, kind of the mindset behind it. We're doing this series now, you and I, here on Instagram Live, about mindset related. Last time we talked about 2 weeks ago from today, I think we talked about the mindset of hiring people. If you guys did not get to watch that, I think you have a version of it on your page right now, right?
Yeah, it's on. I have on my Instagram TV. I've got a copy of it there.
Cool. And I got one being edited right now. We're going to put one out at Bigger Pockets on their YouTube page shortly, whenever the editor gets finished with us. So that's what we're talking about today. So I guess, Jason, I'll let you kind of kick things off where you want to go, because you're smarter than me. So
let me kick it off. Okay, so we're talking mindset, right? So remember, mindset. We'll talk mindset. Let's talk about a minute about mindset, and then we'll talk about money, because I got a great example for here.
Sure.
So mindset. What is mindset? Mindset is how you view the world. Like, every person on this planet is viewing the world through a mindset, right? And your mindset is your past references, your past experiences, what you believe to be true, what you believe to not be true, how life works, how real estate works, how getting money works, how everything works. Your entire reality is based on your perceptions, your expectations, etc. What people don't realize is that mindset, the things we struggle with in life, where we're struggling to do something or to accomplish something we didn't have, the reason we're struggling is because we're bumping into the limits of our mindset. Okay. And the simple way to know if it's a mindset issue, right? Because is my mindset aligned with what I'm doing, or is my mindset not aligned with what I'm doing? Right? And it's very easy to tell. If you're feeling positive emotions, your mindset is aligned with the target. If you're feeling negative emotions, your mindset is not aligned with the target, right? So that will tell you, and that's why slowing down a little bit to feel where you're at will help you into alignment, so that you can get to a place where you can flow and create and have your life be the way it wants to be, instead of forcing and pushing and grinding, right?
That makes a lot of sense. I used the analogy recently about the first time I ever did stand-up paddleboarding, which I've been doing a fair amount of lately. The first time I ever did it, I went to this island that was off of the side of Oahu, and it took me an hour to get there, maybe an hour and a half of struggling to get there. And I get there, and I was so proud of myself. I fell in 20 times on the way there, but I got there, and then I was so wore out, and I was oh, now I got to go all the way back, and I'm already exhausted and tired and sore. And I get on the thing, and I start paddling, and I landed on the beach 5 minutes later. It's because, one, I was going against the stream or against the current of the ocean, and the other one I was going with it. And so going back, that's kind of reminds me, once you align the right mindset, once you have the right, you can also use that analogy for you have the right team, once you have the right plan, when you align those things, you're moving with the current rather than against it. So everything it's easier, it's more fun, you fall in less. So.
Yeah, and most people don't know, or have never been taught, that they can change their mindset. Right? So changing that's did your mindset about paddleboarding shift with that newspaper article you posted the other day?
Funny. So what you're talking about there, so I went out paddleboarding with my real estate team last week, my Open Door Capital. Yeah, and like we went and saw whales up close. It was amazing. Like one popped up right next to us.
Okay.
I forgot to shut that off. So,
Okay.
So we were out there. We're on the water. Like one of them popped up right next to us, and we watched one jump. There's a picture on my Instagram from a few days ago. The next day, I see this newspaper article says, shark, 10-foot tiger shark. Now my phone's ringing. 10-foot tiger shark attacks paddleboard group and aggressively pursues them. And the picture was like this, like a big bite out of the back of a paddleboard. Yeah, it was crazy. So anyway, yeah, that was
a little mindset perspective there, right?
Yeah,
right?
It was nuts. But yeah, mindset. But then funny thing is, I went out again yesterday, and this time I took a screwdriver with, and I actually like wrapped it around my neck, so that way if a shark came, I'd at least have a screwdriver to jab at it. So no shark came, but I did get to see a couple whales up close. So anyway, yeah.
So does the new mindset bring a screwdriver?
Yes.
Or is the new mindset, I'm protected by whales?
The new mindset is, yeah, I like the adventure. I love the fact that there are sharks out there and that I could die. I actually enjoy that. I have fun knowing that it's dangerous. And that I should probably bring something with so I don't die in case worst case scenario happens. So my mindset changed, so I bring different tools to the equation. I'm sure there's an analogy there somewhere.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Yeah. So the money mindset, right? So let's jump into money mindset, because if you're wanting to make more money, or if you want to have more money or buy more stuff or grow your business or get into real estate investing or expand real estate investing, we have a comfort zone. And money is a big one. Money is like probably one of the most loaded emotional mindset topics you can think of, right?
Yeah.
I know for me it was a long time, right? Because there's all culturally, like socially, we're conditioned. Rich people are blank.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What, generous and caring people? No, they're greedy and selfish and mean. Right. That's what we're conditioned to believe.
Yep.
Right. Right. So we have we have things that impact us. Right. Like here's a story. Like I in high school, I worked at the golf course, right? My high school golf course, and I played on the golf team. And my first summer, I got a job as a freshman summer. I worked all summer. I didn't have a car. I couldn't go anywhere. So I just kept putting money into the bank account. And by the end of the summer, I had like about $700 in there, way back in 1989, right? So I was like, cool. So I went to the bank one day to check my bank account, and my account was empty. And I didn't know what had happened. And what had happened was my parents needed the money, and back then you can't have separate accounts. So they borrowed the money from my account to pay to cover the gap to their account until they got paid on Monday, right? And I was like, I didn't really think anything of it as a time, but basically what happened after that is that for the next probably 15 years, I never saved money.
Wow.
Never. And I didn't realize this until I actually became a coach and went through the Tony Robbins coach training program, went into some deep growth where I started to dig into this. And what actually happened in that moment is that I created a belief that said, if I save money, it will be taken.
Wow.
So, and I look back at times in my life where I would have money and I would basically have this comfort zone. If I had extra money in my bank account between paychecks, I would go find useless crap to spend it on.
Yep.
And prior to that, I had saved a whole bunch. If you look at my sister, she always saved. So that impact literally shaped my financial future for 15 years. Right.
Wow. Yeah. That's the power of mindset. And if you don't recognize that, like, it's unlikely you'll ever change that mindset. Right? Like you just kind of live with it forever.
Yeah, I have one more. Here's another story. So, because me and money have a fun relationship. So another one, right? So this is like 20 years ago. I can't believe it's 20 years. Early 2000s, I was in tech sales. I was in technology sales, and I worked for Avaya, and I would carry phone systems around and stuff. And I had this opportunity, and I was probably making 125,000 then, when my 33 years old. So I got this job interview, and I was kind of sick of that company because I was ready to move on. And I had this job opportunity at this other tech company. This tech company was another tech company called Sonic Wall, and it was like a lateral move, right? It was a territory channel manager here, territory channel manager here. And I used to be a Cisco engineer, so I was way more technical than most salespeople, right? My peer from an old job was the counterpart in Southern California when I was in Northern California. And I went to the interview, and as I'm walking to the interviewing room, the hiring VP is introducing me to everybody in the building as the new guy, before he even spoke a word to me. Didn't say a word. And you know, every job I've had prior to coaching was sales, right? So I've got a job offer from like 99% of the jobs I've ever interviewed for in my entire life. I could win over anybody, right? We go into this interview, we sit down, and I was making about 120, 130, which was already more than my family was. And the first thing out of his mouth is, "This is a 200K job." And I went, "Yes!" And then I proceeded to have the worst interview of my entire life. It was so bad, he wouldn't even respond to my emails to say I didn't get the job.
Wow.
And I had no idea what had happened. And it took years later when I started to really get into coaching, is just that was so far beyond, while I consciously wanted that, at a deep level, I believe that rich people are greedy. They're not nice. If I do that, I'm not a greedy person. And then I started to realize that I was already feeling awkward with my family because I was making 3 times what they made. What are they going to start feeling about me then? So my subconscious brain fixed it so I didn't have to worry about that, to keep me aligned with my identity of who I was, right? And it was like painful. Like, and I was at that company 5 more years. So that's the big one, right? Because we have this barometer of how much we make. Like, for example, let's say you make, you know, 75,000 a year, right? And you made 75,000 last year, and you're doing well, and 2 years ago you made 75, last year you made 85, and this year you're starting out the year and you're like, oh, things are going good, I'm starting to coast a little bit, right?
Yep.
And we start to coast, and then things start to go down. Whereas, let's say you made 75, and then the year after that you made 35, you would turn the heat up.
Yes.
And start taking additional action,
Yes.
right? Crank the heat up. So we often get stuck in these like comfort zones of what we're expecting, and unknowingly we can spend years there. Have you ever had that happen?
Yes. Brian Tracy talks about this in the book called The Psychology of Selling. Have you read that one? It's
yeah.
Okay, yeah. He talks a little bit about that's why I first heard about the thermostat kind of idea of like, you'll step on the gas, you'll increase the heat or you'll lower it, because we have this internal thing. And one thing he made a comment in there I thought was pretty powerful, and at least it applied to me at the time. He said, your thermostat, like what you're worth and the fact that you make the same amount every year, is set by how much your father makes. And I remember I'm just going, that's it.
Oh.
Like my dad earned the exact same. It's almost like I couldn't earn more than my father for years, because my mindset was like, that's what, like, I just can't do it. And so it's a weird thought that, like, why should I? And I never verbally said it. I never even literally never thought it. But I knew when I read that is the mindset that's holding me back. And it wasn't until I like recognized that and started raising my thermostat by being around people who made a lot more. In fact, one of my buddies then mentioned how he made like basically 10 times more than I was making. And I was like blown away. I was like, how can a person make that much? That's our age. I was like, you can't. And within like, I think it was 18 months later, something like that, I had made the same amount as him. Like I was at the same level, because I started hanging out with him and talking with him and getting his mindset. And at the same time, I joined GoBundance, which is all guys that made tons of money. And you definitely have that thermostat. And if you want to increase wealth and make the money you make, you got to get around people to force you up to that level. So, yeah.
So step one is change your peer group. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Step one is change your peer group. And like, I struggle with this one sometimes, honestly, because it's easy to say things like, hey, some people in your life are holding you back. You know, like the guy who's happy with making $12 an hour, he's holding you back. But I'm like, money isn't the only important thing. I mean, that's a huge, money is not the most important thing, but money is important. This is where I differ with my parents. And my parents I love my parents, and they actually taught me a lot about money, but they're like, we don't talk about money because money is the root of all evil. It was kind of the way I was raised, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention that verse is completely taken out of context. Like, even I'm a believer, I'm a Christian guy, so I know that verse is in there, but it doesn't say money is the root of all evil. It says for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. So two things that get wrong. One, it's the love of money, and it doesn't say that it's evil. It says it's the root, meaning it's the cause. So if you were to look at, like, why do most murders happen? Why do most this happen, that happen? you could find the love of money or greed, in other words, as the basis for most things that go wrong in the world. Most problems in the world are based in greed. That's all that's saying. So, but we were raised to believe that money itself is bad, and by having it, that's a problem, and that you were a worse person because of it. So, yeah.
It's funny how that creeps up. Yeah. The thing about mindset, though, is if you can't get stuck in a limited mindset if you know you're in a limited mindset.
Yeah.
So simply the awareness of it alone will start to dissolve that mindset, right? Because the questions I'm guessing will be thrown at us next is, how do you change your mindset? Right? How do you change your mindset, right? So the simplest way to change your mindset is to change your perspective. And one way, the best way I know to do that is to take the perspective of someone who's like a mentor or at the level you look up to. The other thing is you could actually take it to a much higher level, right? Right? Was I really put on this planet, in this body, in this time to be limited in how much I could make? Right. And really the interesting thing is that as my finances have grown over the years, the thing that has been the most opening and expanding was my willingness to receive. Right. Because like we're often conditioned to say no. Like, I don't know if you saw that post I had, but you know, I go to the grocery store. And there's a grocery store in my town, and it's one of the nicer grocery stores, and so there's really staff there. And this guy just loves helping you. Like, he's like, I'd love to help you with your groceries to the car. Can I help you? You know? And my gut answer is no. I got it, right? I've got someone offering to help me. That's their job. They're getting paid to do it, and they get joy. And my gut reaction is saying no.
No.
So if you're taking the actions and you are working hard, what kind of rules do you have around receiving, right? Because sometimes we're taking the actions, we believe we can make that much, and sometimes we've got rules on, oh, well, money can only come from one job, or money comes from a job. Real estate investing is risky, right? Or money can't come out the window, right? And from working with you, the mindset that I'm guessing you have is that money can come from anywhere. Right? Yeah. Anytime, right, left, up, down. So simply opening willingness to receive is one way to start shifting that mindset. So start letting it flow in.
Yeah. You know where I feel like I learned a lot of that from? You know, on the Bigger Pockets podcast, we've interviewed, you know, almost 400 people at this point. And we asked this question, like, what's the best real estate book you've ever read? Or what's your favorite real estate book? And 90% of the answers is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That book is not about real estate, which is the funny thing that everybody said. I said that book, right? Why do we all say Rich Dad Poor Dad was the book that was the best real estate book, even though it's not a real estate book? Because it is one of the best, if not the best, mindset changing books ever written. It changes something in your head when you're reading it, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh, I get it." And for me, I remember this one line, and he said, and I quote this all the time because it was so powerful. He said that basically poor individuals, and he doesn't not even just necessarily monetarily, but just like poor people in a lot of regards. Yeah, they say I can't afford it. Where the wealthy say, how do I afford it? And I remember reading that just being like that, like expanded my mind, like, you know, like the Grinch, his heart grew 3 sizes. It was like my brain grew 3 sizes that day. Yeah. Yes. Because all of a sudden I realized, like, if I just started asking the question, like, I'm going to get a better answer. And that changed, like, that was huge for me. That was the catalyst for me as well. This was like 2003. And I actually started with real estate investing. I was at Dolph DeRue, remember? Dolph DeRue. Like, I did that. I went to a seminar and started doing that. And I actually started creating companies instead. I wasn't real estate investing. But yeah, that book was a game changer, like radical game changer from I go to work, I get a job, this is what I do, to hey, what do I want? How do we go get it? Yeah. It was remarkable. So I want to write a book someday that's like that changes mindset. Because I do tactic stuff, you know, all my stuff is tactical. But yeah, if I can get people to say, man, you changed my mindset, like that. That's a cool honor. So I hope to get there someday with books. I think you do. I think you need to give yourself a little more credit for that. I know. So actually, on that, podcasts do change mindset in a tremendous way. So does social media. Like your mindset is changed by, we talk about peer group, but it's also with people, like what you consume, like the media you consume. So if all you do is follow, like, you know, weightlifters all day long on social media and just like constant Facebook and you hang out with weightlifters in your area, whatever, like it's all that stuff, all you consume, you watch videos on weightlifting, you're naturally going to want to weightlift. Same with vegan. If you want to watch all vegan stuff, you're going to be a vegan. If you want to do anything, it's the media you consume. So hopefully by consuming Bigger Pockets media, people's mindset is changing to real estate, like, or at least financial freedom or financial responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And that book again was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And so should I tell everybody how to change their beliefs?
Sure.
That'd be useful. Do you see my new, you want to see my new anti-stress tool?
Sure. Oh, nice.
I set a goal. It is a Rubik's Cube. I set a goal to be able to do the Rubik's Cube. So that's my new thing. Because when I pick it up, I start getting stressed. I'm like, no.
That's funny.
Practice. Yeah.
Mine is this. I twirl a pen just like this. And I just fidget with a pen, twirling my fingers all day long.
Well, maybe you and I should have a challenge to see the first one who can solve it on the Instagram Live.
There we go. While we're talking, you got to share.
While we're talking. Because the world record's like under 4 seconds.
Yeah, crazy.
Okay, so here, beliefs. Like, so I can't describe this as, I'll try to describe this as best I can, right? We've done this a couple times on coaching calls. So the big breakthrough, like I actually didn't learn this when I was working, I didn't learn this from Tony Robbins, didn't teach me that. I think God whispered in my ear. I don't know how I figured out this process, but basically I was in this horrible lawsuit getting sued by a wealthy person because rich people are mean, right? So the thing is, like, emotions are indicators of alignment. Okay. So if you're working on getting your first property, for example, or working on, or let's just say real estate, you're working on getting your first property, and every time you go to do it, you're starting to feel resistance. Maybe it's fear or worry. The fear or worry isn't the problem. The fear is the symptom of misalignment. Okay. So the thing about beliefs, all you have to do to change them is, number one, identify them. Number two, take ownership of it, and then replace it with something similar that neutralizes it. So if you do that, like, it's gone instantly. Like, you have the ability to change anything inside you. There isn't some roaming belief in there that you're victims of, right? So literally you say out loud, I take ownership of that. So let's say, for example, you want to get your first property and you're feeling fear about it, okay? Here's how you identify the belief. You say, okay, I want to buy this property. I'm feeling fear. Wherever I'm feeling it, chest, head, whatever, move that feeling everywhere in your body. It helps you interpret it. And then when you feel that fear everywhere in your body, ask yourself, why am I feeling this fear? And your brain will give you an answer, okay? And when your brain gives you an answer, you can say, because real estate is risky, or I don't know what to do. Write that down. And then ask yourself, why is the first belief an issue? Like, so real estate is risky. Why is real estate risky? Well, real estate is risky because you gotta have money. Write that down. Well, why do you have to have money? Bill, because you got to be a rich person. And then what's wrong with being a rich person is rich people are greedy, right? So it can be stem like that, right? And then when you identify the belief, read it out loud. And if you read it out loud, it feels bad. Like, I don't know, we've done this before, right?
Yeah.
Like, so when you read it out loud, it feels bad. That means you found it. Then you literally look down at it and say, that's mine, I created it, and I release it, and you cross it out, and then you write down the opposite of it, and it's literally gone, like, boom, just like that. And the thing is, you may have to open yourself up to that to work too, because you probably have justifications and rules on why you feel that way too. So sometimes it's layered at the beginning. That's why a coach can help you kind of pull that apart. But you have the ability to transform all of this inside you simply by taking ownership of it. Like, this was like a game changer and for me in my life. Like, if you met people who knew me 10 years ago, 15, they won't even recognize who I am today, because I've done so much personal growth that all of the reasons that I hid who I am from the world are gone. And I actually don't really have self-judgment anymore. It's kind of an interesting thing. I do have memories that don't feel bad, but I don't judge myself for what I do, because I know the only difference between me and my 2-year-old son is I've not been pooping in my pants for longer than he has, right? Nobody gave us a manual.
Yeah, we figure this out as we go. You know, to give a real life example of what you're talking about, I don't mind sharing a little bit of my, like, when we did that together, is one of the, like, kind of limiting beliefs or mindsets around money that I had was I told you once, like, I don't like raising money. It's my least favorite thing in the world that I do is raise money. I don't like doing it. And you were like, well, why is that? And we really drilled down for a while. We spent a while, like probably a whole call, and was like, why don't I like raising money? Why do I have a fear against that? And it ended up being like, I don't like when people don't like me. That's where it ended up at, like, because I'm a high I. It was like, I don't like, and so by me having to raise money means I'm going to get rejected. And when I get rejected, I feel like people don't like me. And there were people that I had pitched to go into a real estate deal before, and they rejected me. And so I felt personally rejected, like I was a bad person or they don't like me, even though it was just like they just literally didn't have the money. Like it was so like obvious why they didn't want to invest with me, but they just did not have the money. So I just didn't raise money for the longest time. And for the longest time, I mean, like Joe Fairless is the guy in the same industry. Joe Fairless is the guy they follow. He's an awesome dude. He has a podcast that's popular. I mean, he's got millions of downloads on it. And he owns now almost $1 billion of real estate. Grant Cardone has a huge audience, owns $1 billion of real estate. Why? Because they use their audience to raise money. Yeah. So like, I was not, how many hundreds of millions of dollars have I lost out on over the past 8-10 years because I was afraid of raising money? And so you and I worked through that together. And now, ironically, that is what I do as I raise money. Like, that's my thing today. Like in my Open Door Capital team, which is our investment fund, like my only job is to raise money, essentially, like just to talk about real estate. And I enjoy it. Like, I mean, we put out a message. We have like 1,500 investors on our list now because like I kind of started enjoying it. And so we found our email. We raised like $7 million in commitments out of the 10 we were trying to do in like 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like I went from being the guy a year ago, like this was like a year and a half ago, you and I did this, of I don't want to raise money, I don't like raising money, to now I'm one of the bigger money raisers in the world. Like that just happened because of mindset. And it's funny, when I didn't like raising money, I couldn't raise money. Or when I said I don't like raising money, I couldn't raise money back then. And today now I'm like, oh yeah, I like raising money. This is great. Now I have no problem raising capital. And yeah, very interesting how that, I haven't actually put all that together until just now, like you're live on this call, but how that
very cool.
came into full circle. Yeah. So anyway, it works.
That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see, another way you could shift mindset. Let's throw out some more. You could do incantations, right? Incantations. Let's say you make 50 grand a year. Every day you set a timer for 5 minutes and you say, I make 100 grand a year. I make 100 grand a year. I'm 100 grand a year. Like you could literally reprogram your brain from doing that every single day till you start to believe it. That's one way too, right? Yeah. And you can also, and the thing is, if we look at DISC profile, you know, some people are motivated economically, but everybody isn't, right? So some people focusing on money doesn't motivate them. If the money starts to be the limiting piece, focus on the mechanics of it. Right? So if you're stuck at an income level, you know, maybe, you know, the thing that you need to think about is like, well, if you really like helping people, if you doubled your salary, you made an extra $200,000 a year, how many people could you help with that?
Yeah.
You know? And does that mean if you're not making 200 grand a year, how many people are you letting down?
Yeah.
Because most people will do more for someone else than they'll do for themselves.
Yeah.
So a big purpose that's aligned with you will drive you through it. Incantations will do it. You can also do the belief change process too. But the really cool thing about the belief change process is the second you do it, that emotion is gone forever, right? Like that raising money is just gone. Whoosh. Yeah. Whoosh. Which is cool.
That's cool. That's cool, man. Yeah. Well, what else you got? Anything else you want to cover on money?
Let's see. I gave you my interview story. Comfort zone coasting, how to get out of there. I don't think I do. Do you have any other questions? Does anybody else have any questions?
I'm pretty good. I will tell one quick story about, I do have one thing I could share about money, and I've shared this before on the podcast, but I'll do it again anyway. I had a friend growing up who might be watching this thing right now. I won't say his name, but his parents owned a very successful local company. Like they owned a local small business and made good money. They were like rich, like, and I don't think they were bringing in, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars, but they were just like a well-off family, had a nice, big, huge house, and they had a house cleaner. And I was raised with the mindset that like people with house cleaners are lazy, and rich people are lazy because they can't even clean their own house. I mean, like my dad was out here last week and he even made this little comment about like, he's been out for a month, and a little comment about like, you know, I see you got some landscapers. Must be nice, right? Like this, so like I grew up with that. So I remember thinking that my friends' parents must just be lazy. The fact that they have a house clean, they can't clean their own house. Like stupid rich people, right? And that's why I'm like, no, and we talked about this before, but they're successful in money because they hired people. And so, yeah, this relates back to the hiring thing we talked about 2 weeks ago, but it's also just about money. It's like, when, like, just because somebody has money doesn't mean they're bad. In fact, they also provide jobs for other people. They're able to focus on their core competencies. So anyway, that was just like a shift I had to go through over the last few years, that hiring other people to do stuff with your money is actually a good use of money, and it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. And I just remembered one more thing that really helped me shift into a higher state of abundance was carrying more cash in my wallet.
How so?
Because,
you know,
becoming, like, I left a great paying tech sales job to join a career where the average person in the US makes 30 grand a year. And I had supporting a wife and 2 small kids. Like, at one point we were on food assistance from the state when I was working for Robbins Coaching, believe it or not.
Wow.
So it was incredibly challenging to become a coach and build a business with a gun to your head financially. But you know, I've had experiences and memories where my cards didn't work or they didn't have money, and like, oh, well, which one did I have? So like, I got to a point where I had one credit card with room on it, so I felt a little bit more secure in case the debit card didn't work or the bank was down or something. So I finally realized, like, I want to have enough cash in my wallet so if a card never works, I can pay for it. And when you have 6 kids and you go to Costco, it's like $450 every other week, right? So I literally carry $300 to $500, $300 to $400 in $100 bills in my wallet all the time. And it's made me feel so much more stable about money, you know? So even if you don't have a lot in your bank account, start carrying more money around, and you'll start to see it everywhere. Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, we had a similar story, I guess. There was a point where my wife and I were like struggling a lot. I mean, we were building our rental business, but still, like, she was still working at Starbucks. I think at the time, I had quit my job to like flip houses full time, but we like just had no money. We were constantly broke, and putting stuff on credit card. And I remember reading Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover, and that book is another tremendous book for mindset changing about how you think about money. And Dave, he talked about like this idea of like, you know, doing a budget, figure out like doing an analysis how much you spend. So I did that, and I realized I was spending $1,000 a month more than I was bringing in, and I'm like, that's why I'm constantly broke. And it was just identifying that problem that instantly, at least I got to the point where I was broke even. Like, just, I mean, I didn't even change anything. But what my wife and I did really at that point to get ahead is we went to an envelope system. We cut our debit cards completely out. We canceled every automatic payment. Every single thing we did was part of an envelope system. And we went hardcore on this. And like, we had this like, I don't even call it accordion style like thing, and it had like 20 little folders in it, and so each one had a little label, and it was gas, groceries, you know, mortgage payments.
That's all you got for the month.
That's all we got. Just that made a huge difference in my life and changed my mindset about money and about like scarcity, and like, you naturally spend what you make generally, and the cash helped us know exactly what it was, what we were making, so we knew what to spend, and it made life. It just was a great turning point. So anyway, that was huge.
Yeah, like, you know, it's. And the funny thing is, during those times, you were on your own, right? You didn't have Instagram cheering you on, right?
I didn't. Yeah, I had nothing like that. But
and you had people in your family looking at you funny.
Exactly.
Like when you like, that's why I always say the journey to greatness is a lonely journey. Lonely journey. You're by yourself, right? If your partner's aligned, that's good. Sometimes your partner's not aligned, but you know you're supposed to do that, right?
Yeah, that's true, man.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of landscapers, my landscaper just showed up, so they're right outside the door. So we better get this thing, close it off. So this was good, though. Thank you. This was awesome. Mindset about money.
Fantastic.
Yeah, anything you want to close with? Where can people connect with you?
If you want to connect me, hey, if you want to do a disc profile, we talked disc profile 2 months ago. Go to my bio. You can text Coach Jason to 474747. You get a free disc profile. That'll tell you a lot about your personality style. If you're interested in a complimentary session, reach out to me or somebody on my team can handle that. I'm a little booked up with a vacation next week, so just if you want to book in 2 weeks, we'll take care of you. But yeah, like, listen to this. Try the belief change. Like, it works. It really works. And maybe also for a little bit, look at how much you make, look at how much you want to make, and pretend that those numbers shift, right? As in, you made what you want to make, and it was actually half last year, to see if you can get the heat up a little bit more, right? Take more action, because you can. It's like, you can make as much as you are willing to receive. So go get it. Go get it.
Go get it. All right,
Go
thanks,
get it.
everybody.
Yep.
Well, for biggerpockets.com, Beardy Brandon and Jason Drees Coaching, you guys have a good day.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.